In the past few months, our friends Alan and Mary D. Dodge, who are artists, have sent us some really big sculptural pieces in these crates. And today, we're going to try to turn this big mess of crates and broken wood into a piece of furniture. And Alan wrote all these Billy Collins quotes on some of the pieces of wood, so we're going to try to incorporate those into shelves and things. I think it'll be a challenge, but I think we can make one small piece of furniture out of a lot of salvage wood. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, here's the bare bones of the stove. It's got this cutout for the stove to be inserted, and then I have 2 shelves. For the shelves, I'm using this 1/8-inch plywood that was surrounding the boxes, and what I'm going to do is glue 2 pieces of 1/8-inch plywood and essentially make my own little laminate. And so 2 pieces of the 1/8-inch glued together, and that'll make one, I think, sturdy enough shelf. And then with a little bit of poetry, we had to cut and paste because that board was pretty gnarly. So I'm hoping this will all work. Anyway, I really like the idea of doing this with completely reclaimed stuff. So we'll see how it looks in the end. Might be pretty crappy, or it might be fabulous. We'll see. Okay, I've got my 2 pieces of crap wood, and I am going to put them together to make one piece of a slightly less crappy wood. That's the plan. We'll see how it works. It's kind of decorative, eh? A little bit of Jackson Pollock. Okay, I got it clamped down, and then there are a couple of little screws in there. So I'm hoping that will be a shelf that works. I've used up all my clamps, so I guess I'll have to wait till tomorrow to finish the other shelf. I think I have done what I can for today. This is going to have to dry and get all solid, and then I will do the other shelf tomorrow and finish up the cabinet. This is pretty sturdy. It's pretty sturdy. So I think my patching together the 2 pieces is going to work just fine. It's a really strong shelf. I still have a couple 1x4s, or pieces of 1x4s actually, left over from the original wood I bought for the build. So I'm gonna cut those to make some facing on the cabinet. I think that will make it look a bit better. I'm just making this up as I go along, but I think that won't look too terribly bad. I'm not gonna screw in the side panels yet, not until we have the shelves in. So, because I think it'll just be easier, but it's not looking terrible. A little messy, but you know, for what used to just be a box, it's not bad. So I kind of had to take it apart to get the shelf in. So I'm going to leave it apart until the other shelf dries and I can get that all situated and straightened out. I also had to do a lot of shaving of these little notches. They are not perfect, but nothing about this is perfect. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. This puppy is definitely getting painted when I'm done because it kind of looks a mess. I've got some scrap left over from the ceiling, so I just tacked that up so that the press board won't be the thing that's showing the most. And now I'm going to paint it. I haven't been painting most of the furniture, but this thing is, it's pretty much of a mess. And I think it could use some paint, and I think that will help a lot. Well, that was dramatic. I shook the can and dropped it. So half an hour of scrubbing later. About a roll of paper towels and some sacrificial actual towels. And I think it's not too bad. But I'll need to find a new piece of cardboard to paint on top of, because this one, it doesn't look like it right here, but it's a mess. It's all folded up and a mess underneath. Got a lot more newspaper packed around it, new cardboard, and at least the primer is pretty well shaken, so it's time for that first coat. That's looking a little better. Almost like it'll be okay. Anyway, it doesn't quite look so much like I tacked a bunch of garbage together. So we'll let it dry and then see what we can do about putting it together tomorrow. So on this one side, the stovetop was being held up mostly by 1/8 of an inch plywood, and that just didn't feel stable enough to me, so I added this little reinforcing piece. But of course, that made the stovetop area itself, the cutout, a little too small. So I'm gonna adjust that. It sort of seems to always happen whenever I have to reinforce something, that suddenly things are a lot smaller, which I guess makes sense. So I'm going to cut it out a little bit and then we'll see if we can make it fit again. And voila, a nice tight fit. There it is. Needs a little bit of paint and finishing and all sorts of stuff, but the stove is in.